Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Don here, back in another video, and today we're going to be covering Skyblock guesting update. This is the first thing that they said. They said, hello, like we said in the previous patch, we are trying to release Skyblock content every week. Here in this week's patch, they introduced guesting, new boss, loot mechanics, and more, new collection items, fishing achievements, personal leaderboards, shop improvements, buy in bulk, balancing and general changes, and bugs fixes. So let's move on to the first thing, guessing. Time to make your island look pretty. You can now visit the islands of other players, /visit and then their name. There's now an island settings menu in your Skyblock settings, Skyblock menu. You can decide who can visit your island, friends, guild, everyone, nobody. When visiting an island, you can't die nor take damage. Guest can't break anything on your island, can't use abilities or open any chests or anything else. By default, guests can't pick up items that you drop on the ground, but you can enable it. Guests can usually chat normally. You can visit the islands of other players even if they're offline. By default, we are limiting the total amount of guests on the island to 1. If your island has at least 1 VIP, the max amount of guests on your island at the same time is 3. If your island has at least 1 MVP, the max amount of guests on your island at the same time is 5. If your island has at least 1 MVP++, the max amount of guests on the island at the same time is 7. You can go back to the hub or go back to your island using the Skyblock menu. Jerry now has a guesting menu where you can find info and also access your settings. Visits are off by default. If you want players to join your island, turn it on in your settings. This is the testing phase of guesting, and they have more planned for the future. New boss loot mechanics. We want looting to be fun and fair at the end of the boss fights. The Magma boss is currently the only real boss of the game, but the system would be used for future boss fights as well. Loot mechanics. Bosses still drop the item on the ground, but players can only see their own loot. The more damage you deal to the boss, the more loot you will gain from the boss. Even if you are the top 1 damage, you might not get the best item, but you will still have the better odds of getting the best item. Even if you do not get the best item, you will be compensated with more loot. Overall, the damage you deal, the more loot you will gain, but it does not mean you'll get the best weapon items. Everyone who participated in the fight, at least dealt 1 damage, will get at least 1 fragment used to craft the armor from the boss. At the end of the boss fight, you can now see your damage ranking and how much you dealt. Magma boss changes. The Magma boss now has 600,000 health. It now drops a lot more overall loot, enough for everyone. It can now drop pieces of the Ember armor, mid-game armor. It can now drop Ember fragments, can be used to craft Ember armor. There are a few gameplay elements on the map that can give you a very accurate indication of the next time the Magma boss will spawn. If you know what those are. Let us know what you think about these new mechanics. If you like them, we will keep them for future fights. New collection rewards. Teleport pads unlocked in Enderpearl Collection 7. Very much like the launch pads, teleport pads can be placed on your island and right-click to set up. You can place up to 12 of them on your private island. Each one of them is assigned a different color, and each one can be linked to the color of another teleporter pad. Example, you can set up yellow teleport pad to it will always go to red teleport pad, and then set up a red to always go to green, and set up green always to go to yellow. You went full circle. Hot potato book unlocked in Potato Collection 8. When you place a hot potato book in an anvil with a weapon or armor, it'll permanently apply stats on that piece of gear forever for free. Applying a hot potato book does not cost any level and does not add any anvil penalty to the item. It's free. Hot potato books gives +2 weapon damage and +2 strength on weapons, and +2 defense and +4 HP on armor pieces. The one downside is that you can hot potato book 10 times maximum on any piece of gear. Woodcutting crystal unlocked in Birch Log Collection 8. You can place the woodcutting crystal nearby your foraging minions and they will start working 10 times faster. It has a range of 12 blocks. Greater Talisman Bag unlocked in Redstone Collection 10. This upgrade will increase the size of your talisman bag from 15 slots to 21 slots. Hard glass unlocked in Sand Collection 7. This special glass can't be broken by explosions. Perfect for gas. Fishing achievements. I will not be going through all of these, but you can read through them. There's only a few of them, so here you go right here. Personal leaderboards. Skyblock isn't really about competition, but we still think players should be able to see their personal rankings. So here is an example: Cobblestone, top 16%, such as that. You can now find your personal leaderboards in the Skyblock menu. Here, how do you get to them? You go to your skills. Once you click on your skills, you can check all your rankings and stuff like that. Okay, shop improvements. Finally, you can now right-click on items in the shop to buy in bulk. This does not work on armors, weapons, talismans, potions, or enchanted books. Enchantment changes. New enchantment: telekinesis can be applied to swords, bows, pickaxes, axes, shears, anything. Whenever you mine ore, cut wood, shear a sheep, or kill a mob, the loot directly goes into your inventory. It does not work on boss monsters. Enchanted book recipe changes. Crafting level 1 enchanted books was almost never a good idea. We changed all the collection to reward higher level books instead, and scale the difficulty of the recipes appropriately. Hopefully, book recipes are interesting to craft now. Here's the full list of crafted enchanted books changes. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see them. I will scroll through them. Okay, enchantment mechanics changes. In preparation for endgame content coming in the next few weeks, we have decided to balance enchantments. Enchantments will no longer buff each other. They will only apply to the base damage of the weapon. This is a pretty big change, as it will lower the damage of items by a lot, but at least it will allow us to add new enchantments later, without having to worry about them buffing all the other enchantments. Because of that, we might need to buff some of the weapons in the game. Let us know what you think about it. Until now, every single enchantment that would be at a percentage damage to your weapon would not apply directly on the base damage, but on all the damage until then. Example before update. Let's take a sword with 100 damage with sharpness 5, first strike 4, and cubism 5. The first hit on a magma cube would deal 100 times 1.25 times 2 times 1.5. That equals 375 damage. After those changes, it will deal 100 times, and this is it'd be 1 plus 0.25 plus 1 plus 0.5 times 100 equals 275 damage. As you can see, it'll heavily reduce the damage of your first hits and reduce the other hits by a decent amount, but at least now we can add new enchantments without breaking the balance completely. Execute and snipe changes. Execute enchantments nerf from 1% to 0.2% per missing health percentage, but now scales to level 5 instead of 3. Snipe enchantment nerf from 5 to 10 blocks distance. Frostwalker changes. Nice try, nerd. Frostwalker will no longer work next to a bobber. Peace is restored. Accidental drop protection. When clicking the drop key while holding a weapon, armor, talisman, fishing rod, tools, or any epic/legendary/special items, you will have to click the drop key twice in a row if you want to drop them. Otherwise, the item won't drop and you will see this lovely message. You must double tap the drop button to drop this item. You can disable this in the settings in your Skyblock menu. Okay, general changes. Midas Sword got buffed from plus 80 strength and damage to 120 strength and damage at 50 coins. Player can now outbid themselves when the item is a Midas Sword. The Spirit Max got buffed from 5 to 7% speed. The Speedster set got buffed to 30 to 35% total speed. Players now gain 2.5 network experience per second in Skyblock. But Guild XP was buffed from 2 to 2.5 per second. Default sea creatures catch rates buffed from 10% to 20%. Max sea creatures catch rate nerfed from 56% to 41%. Odds of Hydra and Emperor rates remain the same. Looting does not work on diver fragments anymore, only one will drop every time. Emerald armor buffed from plus 200 to 250 stat, but scales slower. Emerald armor is now epic rarity. Sugar King was nerfed to 3 to 2 coins, still quite a lot. Personal launch pads can now go up to 12 horizontal and vertical power from 7 and 5. Backpacks containing items can no longer be sold in the auction house. Sponge is now common rarity. Okay, I'm not going to go through all these bug fixes, but you can read through them if you want to. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for the support on my last video. I really appreciate that. Again, I will be coming out with these every week. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.